Have you ever heard of the saying, when the river runs dry, it's a sign of trouble? Well, that's exactly what's happening with the Euphrates River, one of the world's most iconic waterways. After years of drought and overuse, the river has been reduced to a mere trickle, leaving behind a desolate and barren landscape. But just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, something has appeared in the dried-up riverbed that's causing a stir among locals and experts alike. What could it be? And why is it so terrifying? Mesopotamia, a region that was once considered to be a part of the Fertile Crescent, is bounded on the western side by the Euphrates River. The Euphrates, also known as the Ferat in Turkish, originates in Eastern Anatolia, flows generally southward through southeastern Turkey around the provinces of Sanliurfa, Adiyaman, and Gaziantep, crosses the border into Syria and Iraq, passing through Mesopotamia, and eventually empties into the Persian Gulf in Basra after joining with the Tigris River in Shatt al-Arab. Its overall length is roughly 2,800 kilometers, or 1,740 miles, with Turkey accounting for 603 miles of its total length. Karasu and Murad, ancient Arsanias rivers, which are both considered to be headwaters of the Euphrates River, join together somewhere close to the Keban district of Elazig province, which is home to the Keban Dam, which is considered to be one of the largest in Turkey due to its height of 210 meters or 689 feet, and was constructed between 1965 and 1975. Karakaya, which stands at a height of 173 meters or 568 feet, is yet another significant dam that was opened as part of the GAP project in 1987. Other dams include Biricik and Karkamis. However, the Ataturk Dam is the greatest dam in Turkey in terms of size, and also is one of the largest dams in the world. It was constructed on the Euphrates River close to the Sanliurfa region between 1983 and 1992, and has a height of 169 meters or 554 feet. All of these dams are built in this part of Turkey so that hydroelectric power could be delivered to the area, water could be made available for irrigation, and flooding could be mitigated. These dams also create reservoirs that are very sizable and easily distinguishable from one another. The water that is released from the Ataturk Dam is channeled through two parallel tunnels in Urfa that are each 7.62 meters or 25 feet broad and 26.4 kilometers or 16.4 miles in length. This water is then utilized to irrigate agricultural land in the regions of Urfa Haran, Mardin Seylan Pinar, Sivere Kilvan, and Upper Mardin. In addition to the Karasu and Murad rivers, the Toma, Peri, Kalti, and Munjir rivers are also tributaries of the Euphrates. The lowlands near the Euphrates have an average elevation of 760 meters, whereas the plateaus and mountains have an average elevation of more than 1,500 meters. It grows between March and June when the snow in the mountains melts, and reduces its water flow between July and January when there isn't much rain due to the typical climate of a continental subtropical region, which is hot and dry summers and cold and snowy winters. Its water regime is heavily dependent on winter rains and spring snowmelt in the mountains. The freezing temperatures and snowfall during the winter months put a stop to the agriculture that runs along the Euphrates, which plays an essential role in the economy of the region, but comes to a standstill during those months. The people who live in the areas surrounding the Euphrates rely heavily on fishing as a secondary source of income. Carp, barbels, catfish, spiny eel, frogs, toads, and turtles are some of the fish and other species that may be found in the river and the marshes. We can also count the other animals. Near the rivers in this region, a variety of plants can be found growing, including oak, pistachio, ash forest, cattail, Mardi reed and other types of reeds, camel thorn, willow, poplar, date palm, and several types of wildflowers. During the time of the Hittites and the Urartu, the banks of the Euphrates were home to a plethora of prosperous ancient cities, one of which was the city of Zugma. Another river mentioned in the Bible is the Euphrates, which flows into the Tigris. It was known as Perat at the time and is recorded in the book of Genesis as one of the four rivers that split off from the river that was flowing out of the Garden of Eden. Pishon, Gihon, Hiddekel, or the Tigris, and Perat, or the Euphrates, were the names of these four rivers. In Isaiah chapter 27 verse 12, "Children of Israel, on that day it will occur that Yahweh will thresh from the flowing stream of the Euphrates all the way to the brook of Egypt, and you will be gathered one by one." In Revelation chapter 9 verse 14, the voice of God is heard saying to the sixth angel, who is holding a single trumpet, "Free the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." The book of Revelation chapter 16 verse 12, "The sixth one emptied the contents of his bowl into the major river known as the Euphrates. Its waters were evaporated so that a path might be prepared for the monarchs who emerged from the dawn." The Euphrates, which was one of the longest rivers in Western Asia and one of the rivers with the most historical significance, has completely dried up. This has had a significant impact on the lives of a variety of people. This prophecy on the drying up of the land has not only been fulfilled in our modern times, but it's also found in the Bible. Along with its drying up, many ancient discoveries have emerged that have horrified people all across the world. A man can be seen in a recent video demonstrating a significant decline in the amount of water in the Euphrates River. Only in the most recent few years has the water in the river begun to nearly totally evaporate. In addition, the man demonstrated an ancient tunnel that leads to the underworld and has a very excellent building structure. This tunnel also has stairs that are neatly arranged and are still in their original state to this day. Who is responsible for building all of this? Some people believe that this is a relic from ancient times that has been maintained until modern times. On the other hand, there is a widespread belief among the natives that the tunnel goes to a place where angels are held captive. According to what is written in the Bible, more specifically, the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verses 13 through 19, "Then the sixth angel blew his trumpet, and I heard a voice coming from the four horns of the golden altar that was in front of God. It said to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, 'Release the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates.' Therefore, the four angels that were ready for the hour, the day, the month, and the year were let loose to slaughter a third of the human race. I heard that the number of mounted troops was twice 10,000 times 10,000, and I knew this because I saw it. And this is how I saw the horses and those who rode them in my vision. They wore breastplates the color of fire and sapphire of sulfur, and the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and fire, smoke, and sulfur steamed out of their mouths. Those who rode the horses also wore breastplates the color of fire and of sapphire and of sulfur. 1/3 of humanity was wiped out as a direct result of these three plagues, which were characterized by the emission of fire, smoke, and sulfur from their lips. Because the horses' power lies not just in their jaws but also in their tails, which are shaped like serpents with heads and are used to inflict wounds." According to Revelation chapter 16 verses 12 through 16, "The sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, in order to prepare the way for the kings who came from the east. And I saw three impure spirits that looked like frogs emerging from the mouths of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. All three of these mouths belong to the dragon. Because they are evil spirits, they are able to perform signs, and they travel the world in search of monarchs so that they can gather them for fight on the big day that God the Almighty has appointed. And they gathered all of them together at the region that is known as Armageddon in Hebrew." I have high hopes that these solid structures, which display outstanding craftsmanship, will be investigated in great depth, thereby illuminating for us additional historical information and knowledge that was previously unknown. Is it conceivable that there are yet more discoveries waiting to be made in the oceans and rivers of other parts of the world? According to the information that I was able to locate about this tunnel on Wikipedia, it is referred to as the fabled Euphrates Tunnel. According to the tale, the Euphrates Tunnel was constructed between 2180 and 2160 BCE beneath the Euphrates River in order to connect the two sides of the city of Babylon in Mesopotamia. The existence of the Euphrates Tunnel has not been confirmed according to Wikipedia's statement. It seems as though the confirmation is at hand now. In the year 50 BCE, Diodorus wrote in the Bibliotheca Historica, Book 2:1, that the tunnel was constructed by Queen Semiramis and that she used it to travel from one palace to another. The passage was described as following: "After all these, in a low ground in Babylon, she sunk a place for a pond, 4 square, each square being 300 furlongs in length, lined with brick and cemented with brimstone, and the whole 5 and alongside and above the arches. The walls of this vault measured 20 bricks in thickness, and they reached a height of 12 feet. The width of the vault measured 15 feet. Once this piece of work had been completed after 260 days, the river was diverted back into its original course. This allowed Semiramis to travel from one palace to the other without having to cross the river on her way. The river had been diverted back into its original channel once the work had been completed. She also constructed 2 gates fashioned of brazen, one at either end of the vault. These gates were in use up until the time of the Persian Empire. In the life of Apollonius of Tyana, which was written by Philostratus, who lived around 250 CE, he describes the construction of the tunnel as Babylon being cut asunder by the river Euphrates into halves of similar shape, and there passes underneath the river an extraordinary bridge which joins together by an unseen passage the palaces on either bank. Philostratus died in 250 CE. However, he does state that Queen Medea was the one who requested that it be built in the first place. So, that's all for our video for today. We'll be right back with more videos soon. Please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. Make sure you like our video and subscribe to our channel for more great content just like this one. And thanks for watching.